All right, here's a very serious question. Is our country, is South Africa prepared to respond to a humanitarian crisis? Well, who better, of course, to answer that than the very organisation that seems to respond to all these humanitarian crises, that being Gift of the Givers. Responding to a dozen catastrophes since it was formed in 1992, the NGO partnering with Stellenbosch University to share critical skills and knowledge. And someone who's always alongside Gift of the Givers, whether it's in South Africa or even overseas, Dasen Thathiah, our senior reporter. No one better to go cover the conference than you down in Cape Town. No catastrophes for you to deal with this weekend. It's all about upskilling and sharing the knowledge. And this is what I find astonishing about Dr. Suleiman and the entire Gift of the Givers. They're willing to share the love, share the knowledge, so more people are able to assist, isn't it?
That's right, and that's exactly the point of this, because it really comes down to more than just the skills you have. It's also a certain type of fit that it seems you need to fit in with the Gift of the Givers, and that, as you know from the work that they do, there's no color, there's no class, it doesn't matter where you are, there are no boundaries. And although the international missions that we always hear about, Nepal and the Philippines and Turkey and Syria, are the ones that are most talked about, remember that there is also a lot of work that is done locally. Some of the speakers talking about charity beginning at home, and that is key. And you know from the reports that that we see, and also the other types of information that we receive, that work is certainly happening within the borders of South Africa. This is the second day of this conference, and I can tell you that there's already been a wealth of information that has been shared here from various disciplines, and Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman saying that this is not a medical conference, and that's why many of the responses and many of the speakers that have been here have been talking about their personal experiences, and that ultimately is what is going to increase the knowledge and give people examples, real life examples of what it is that they can do. I'm joined now by Dr. Asad Borat, who is actually one of the long-serving volunteers of the organization. But something very interesting about you, you don't just get into a plane here in Johannesburg. You've been living in Australia for the past 7 years, but yet you still managed to join these missions. Logistically, I'm sure that must be quite chaotic, but what keeps you part of the Gift of the Givers?
Well, I mean, I've been involved since 2005, and as Imtiaz says, it's the gift that we receive in every mission that keeps us coming back. It's something that, it's an addiction, it becomes an addiction really, because you just want to be part. And you see this morning again, the teams talking about their experiences and how they value having been part of the team. And it's something that is really soul building, and you just want more of it. You just can't stop getting more. So although I live in Australia, I'm still part of the core medical team, and so we assist with the decision making, the planning, the logistics, but also we do expect at times that there will be more earthquakes and disasters in the east, so that maybe having sort of an office or a branch of the Gift of the Givers in that region, in the Pacific, might in fact be useful as well. So strategic planning going forward.
What was also interesting in this conference, like just a short while ago, we heard from Dr. Naeem Katrada talking about dentistry being part of the work that's being done. We don't often hear about that. I mean, normally the visuals you see are of buildings that are collapsed, you're talking about war zones. But there are so many other elements that form part of this response. And you spoke to a bit of that yesterday. Maybe you could just enlighten our viewers on what else and how those roles fit in.
Yeah, that's a very important part, is that in a disaster, and we must understand that a lot of disaster medicine talks about being overwhelming a facility in a region that's functioning. We must understand that this conference, and we're probably one of the first in the world, is talking about practicing medicine in a disaster zone. And in a disaster zone, you get disruption of all medical resources. I mean, doctors are included in the injuries that happen, and the hospitals are destroyed, etc. So access to normal care, whether it is dentistry, getting your blood pressure checked, getting your baby checked if you're pregnant, or a pediatrician having a look at a child, a normal sort of medical care that we take for granted in certain places, it's gone. Immediately disappeared. And so there's a huge gap that needs to be filled in. And this is why over the years we've evolved from moving away from just having the primary responders, the emergency medicine, the highly specialist orthopedics, surgeons and anesthetists go in, to growing into a multidisciplinary team where we include primary healthcare workers, dentists, and general practitioners, so that the patients who don't have access to medical care at that vulnerable period of their lives, we can restart that process again.
I want to end here. If you can just give me, in summary, in a sentence or two, just beyond the many skills that you have professionally, what have these missions taught you about how to do your work better outside of what's in textbooks?
Yeah, I think that's summarized very well by Imtiaz when he says that it is about being compassionate, being kind, and being generous to people. And if you do that, not just in the medical field, outside of the medical field, we'll have such a much better world that we live in, and we can create that.
Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Asad Bharat. They're talking to us about his contribution here at the conference. And I think that just as we get closer to the end of this, there's certainly going to be a lot more people that are interested in doing this kind of work. The message was certainly loud and clear that it really is all hands on deck, and it starts with not just practicing your skills, but then practicing those in a certain way with compassion and kindness. And as you heard here, it certainly will make the world a better place.